Okay, so you guys, first let me say my skin is really shiny right now because I have my foundation on and I have my nightly moisturizer on. So please ignore the shiny face. My face is really, really shiny right now. And that is because, like I said, I'm going through my nightly routine. Me and hubby are going to have a really late dinner tonight. And so my face is shiny because I have my eye cream on and I have my moisturizer on and I don't have any foundation on. So that's why I have a very shiny face. So I hope you will forgive me for being shiny. Hi, Faith. Thank you so much for joining me. So I'm just testing and see if y'all can hear me. I'm sure you can. Yes, and you can. So I wanted to talk about something. I have a video coming up in my private Patreon group, and I think I'm going to start doing a membership here on YouTube for like videos that I don't want everyone to see, but I only want my members to see. Just because I want to share some more private thoughts and life experiences that I've had, and I don't want it to be public on YouTube. I only want it to be for my members. Hi, Annette. Hi, Deb. Thank you so much. All right, so I want to talk about shame tonight. The video that I have coming up in my Patreon group is about shame related to overeating and how basically one of the reasons why I'm on Weight Watchers right now is because I realized that occasionally, or maybe a lot, I don't know, I would overeat. Okay. So overeating is something that I've done in my life for the past couple of years, not every time I sit down to eat, but occasionally, maybe 3 to 4 times a week, I would be eating either breakfast or lunch or dinner, and I would know that I'm full and I would continue eating anyway. Now, you may say, why would you continue eating when you know you're full? I think it could be for various reasons. I think the first reason may be it's just so freaking good. You know, food is really good, isn't it? It's just so good. Like there's no emotional reason why I overeat. There's none of that. It's literally just food is so good. So sometimes it's so good that you might find yourself overeating. I know for some women, they use it as a comfort. I don't know if I find food comforting, but I do find it delicious. I do find it delicious. And I also feel as though I use it for boredom from time to time. And I think that's why Weight Watchers was so important for me. To do it while I'm quarantined, to do it while I'm home around food all of the time, while I'm cooking, and while I have so many opportunities to overeat, I have stopped overeating. I think I can only say I overate twice since I've been on Weight Watchers. One time, me and my husband had pizza, and I definitely had one too many slices. And then there was another time where I made some chicken and rice, and I love chicken and rice. It's my favorite thing to make. And I feel as though I may have slightly overate. And so this is going to be a topic that I'm going to talk about in Patreon, and I'm going to talk about what comes with overeating and what I've learned about that, about overeating and eating to a point where it's unnecessary to eat. And man, I wish I would have learned this in my 20s, but there's some things that we're going to learn as women in our 20s, in our 30s, in our 40s, in our 50s, in our 60s. I mean, life really is a journey. But I want to talk about shame, and I want to talk about how we live in a culture where everyone's always like, don't shame me, don't judge me. I do nothing wrong. If I want to be a thought, no one should say anything about me being a thought. If I want to, curse my children out, no one should say anything about me cussing my children out. I mean, it's my decision. It's my decision. If I want to be a liar, it's my decision. Don't tell me anything about feeling shame, because even though I'm going to feel shame anyway, I'm going to feel it in private. We all feel shame, okay? I know people like to tell y'all they feel no shame, they feel nothing. I feel nothing. I'm a savage. I feel absolutely nothing. I feel no shame. I do anything. Everyone feels shame. I feel shame. You feel shame. And there's good shame and there's bad shame. And basically, I'm not going to be here long because I need to put my enchiladas in the oven. That's what we're having for dinner tonight. But I want to talk to you about what life experience has taught me about shame, and about how we live in a culture where everyone tells you don't judge, although that's not biblical. People like to throw out that scripture. They only quote half the scripture. I won't go into that. This is not Bible study, but I'm just putting it out there for those who like to quote that scripture to you about not judging. They only quote half the scripture, and it's not true. As believers, we are supposed to judge each other. Believers are supposed to judge each other. We're supposed to correct each other. Okay? But like I said, this isn't Bible study. But I do want to talk about how we live in this culture of don't judge me, don't say anything about me. Let me do whatever I want. No one should have anything to say about it. Let me be a terrible person if I want to be a terrible person. Let me send out terrible messages to young girls and tell them to be promiscuous and have babies out of wedlock. And, just let me do what I want to do. And if you're the kind of person that is not like that, and you understand how shame operates in our life and how we all feel shame, and how shame can take you down a destructive road if you're unwilling to address why you feel shame. Because I don't feel the issue is really that we feel shame sometimes. I feel the issue is we don't want to address why we feel the shame. And I think this goes back to accountability, because you're only going to be able to get so far in life with your looks, with your body, with your intelligence. Those things are important. And, I talk about those things on this channel. I talk about image and how important image is. I talk about all those things, and image is really important, but that's only going to take you so far up to a certain point. Okay. You actually have to work on your character, on your flaws, on the internal things. And so I want to talk to you about 3 reasons shame is good, even though people like to tell you it's bad. No one should shame you. No one should say anything to you. Your friends, your family, and the people that you look to for mentorship and for guidance, it is important to listen to those people. My mom shames me all of the time. Not in a bad way. She shames me in a good way. Yes, shame versus guilt are 2 different things. And I think it's important to understand that shame and guilt are like sisters, or you could say they're like brothers and sisters. Guilt is I feel bad for what I did. Okay, that's guilt. Guilt is doing something and you feel bad for what you did. This is how people become sociopaths and pathological liars and demons, okay? You become a demon, and it can happen to any one of us. Any one of us can become a sociopath. We could become a demon, or we could become a pathological liar. No one's immune from that. None of us are so good that we can't fall into a path of destruction. But here's the thing. Guilt is when you do something or when you say something to someone and you hear that voice in your head or that nudge in your heart. That's guilt, okay? Because you probably shouldn't have said what you said to that person, or you shouldn't have done what you did to that person. And we've all felt guilt before because we've all hurt people before. Every one of us has hurt someone before, okay? So we've all felt that, right? Shame is I'm a bad person for whatever reason, okay? Shame is internal. It's not that you feel bad about what you did to someone else. It's more internal. It's like, I'm not a good person. I'm not, I'm not attractive enough to be in this setting. My body's not good enough. I'm not good enough. That's shame. Okay. Shame is you. You are internalizing something that has happened to you or that you've done, and now you feel down about yourself. But like I said, all shame is not bad. You need shame, okay? You need shame in your life because shame is going to prevent you from becoming a sociopath. Like I said, it's going to prevent you from doing anything with no type of boundaries or with no type of, brakes. It's like you're getting in a car with no brakes when you don't want to experience any type of shame, okay? I can even go back to the Lizzo situation. I've done 2 videos on Lizzo, not Lizzo the person per se, but Lizzo the persona, of how she is a person that has no shame. And while the world laughs at her, she thinks we are praising her. She thinks people laughing and saying, "Girl, go out there and do that, girl." She looks at that as like people like respecting her. But really, people are just laughing at her because she looks ridiculous. That's an example of someone that has lost they're out of touch with shame. They have no shame. And we live in a very liberal society. And so shame is going out of the door, and people are doing things that they should only be doing in their bedroom with their man or on the stripper pole if that is your career of choice. There is no other place that some of these women should be doing the things that they are doing on social media or for these sites that they're on. But they can do it. You know why? Because they've ignored the shame voice in their head. And so those of you who are in my Patreon community, expect a very personal video from me about shame and overeating. I'm going to share my shame story. I feel like something's in my eye. I'm going to share my shame story with overeating. And what I've learned about overeating and what I'm still learning about overeating and how shame has helped me on this journey that I'm on. All right. But back to the 3 ways that shame can help you. The first thing that shame does for you is it shows you who you really are. Okay. When someone says something to you and you don't like it and you feel hurt by it or you feel offended by it or you feel angry by it, it's good to take a reflective look at yourself and ask yourself, why does that make me feel angry or shameful? And you feel shame when you want to attack back, when you want to attack someone who's done nothing to you, or you want to be nasty for no reason. Sometimes that deals with your own internal shame that you have about a certain particular experience in your life or something that you may have gone through, or maybe people have shamed you for this for a very long time. I feel like shame keeps us intact with our emotions, and it helps us become better people because it helps us maybe to address our insecurities. So if someone says something about your weight and you really feel bad about them saying something about your weight, well, that means you're ashamed, because people who don't care, who really don't care, who are really happy with themselves, they don't address issues like that because they don't feel shame. They have no shame. And so I think that when people bring out things that we may need to work on, whether it's our husbands or our family members or, our friends, or in the workplace, if your supervisor tells you need to work on something, I think sometimes that brings out feelings of shame that we have about ourselves in certain areas. And so, because if someone said, "Oh, you're stupid," like that wouldn't do anything to me. I know I'm not stupid. I have a degree. Not only do I have a degree, I've started multiple businesses online. I know I'm not stupid. But if somebody said something to me about being fat when I was like in my 20s, that would bring out feelings of shame because I'd be like, oh, I am fat, at that time in my life. So I think that shame could be used as a good thing to motivate us to change our lives and to be better. We don't want to use it as a form of like depression and beating ourselves up, but we can use it as a source of inspiration to say, hey, I don't feel good about that. I don't like when they talk about me in that way, and I'm going to work about it. I'm going to work about it. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to do something about it. All right. The second thing is shame correlates with your ego. And I have 2 articles that I read about shame. I will post these 2 articles in the description box below so that anyone who comes back and watches this replay, you can read these articles from psychologists and from a website that talks about the power of healthy shame, because we're talking about healthy shame. We're not talking about having to take anxiety medication or slit your wrist or, go never leave the house or, well, none of us can leave the house now, but you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about unhealthy ways of dealing with our shame or feeling like we're just no good, because everybody has good in them, some more than others, but good is subjective. And that's why religion is really not about being good or bad. And anybody who really dives into religion, you learn that it has very little to do with being good and with being bad. And so I think that it's important to understand that we want healthy shame. We don't want the kind of shame where we're going to harm ourselves or, not be productive. That means you might need to get, therapy or counseling, which is nothing wrong with that. All right. So the second thing I want to talk about is your ego. Like, we all have egos, right? We all want to look good to people. Like, we all want to be confident. We want to look good. That's why Instagram is such a huge platform, is because people want to stunt, and this goes for everybody. This goes for people who like to flash their lifestyle. This goes for people who like to show everything they have in their house, from the cars, do house tours and show, this is what I got. All that is about ego. Even religious people. Religious people like to talk about God every single post because it makes them feel good. It feeds their ego. So this is not to, ostracize certain people. We all do it. Okay. Ego is just a part of our makeup, and we need a little bit of ego so that we don't have low self-esteem. So all of us have an ego, and we need a little bit of ego, like I said, so that we don't have low self-esteem. But here's the thing. Shame destroys that ego. And that's why it's good. All right. So when you've done something to hurt someone else, or you've done something to hurt yourself, or when you call someone out of their name, or when you violate someone's values or your own values, shame is the emotion that we feel in response to hurting your values or someone else's values. Okay. So shame kind of gets you out of that ego, and it makes you think about other people, yourself, and how you relate to other people. So shame is good. Shame keeps you from destroying yourself. Okay. You want to know why people can prostitute their bodies? You want to know? Because they block out shame. Because anyone who could sell their body has no shame. You have no shame. And this isn't like a judgment of that person, because maybe they did it because they didn't have a good family. Maybe they did it because they didn't have money. But there's always a choice in life. So somebody decided to sell drugs because they didn't have money, right? And somebody said, I'm not going to sell drugs because that goes against my values, my morals, and my principles. So I'm going to go down here to this McDonald's. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to go to the community college. I'm going to do without. I'm going to struggle so that I can get to the place that I want to get, because I'm not going to kill my own community by selling them drugs. So in life, even though we all have experienced different things in life, there's always a choice. And some people are going to choose to block out their pain and ignore that voice in their head and in their heart. And when you do that, then you have no shame. You won't even feel shame anymore. You will twerk on Instagram every day. You won't feel any shame for yourself. You will come on Instagram in your lingerie, which is meant for your husband, and you will wear that lingerie and get paid for it, and you will feel nothing. You will become a sociopath. You will become a person that has no moral compass. If you block out shame, you will have no morals whatsoever. You will do anything. You will be a part of the do me. I just do me. I just do me. I don't care. I don't care how this looks. I don't care how I'm making my family look. I don't care about my future. I don't care. I'm just doing me. These are your do me people. They don't care about anything. They have no restraint whatsoever because they have no shame. So when you feel shame, don't feel bad. Say to yourself, why do I feel this shame? Why am I feeling this? What is this emotion? What am I going through? Oh, I treated that person bad. And let me tell y'all, there have been times where I have treated people bad. And I had to go back and apologize. I had to apologize. I had to say, listen, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have blown up at you. You know, that we've all done it, right? We've all been there. All right. So the last thing is, shame is good in certain ways because it tells you do have a conscience, and it kind of relates to what I was talking about previously. You know, when you do something that's not so smart, that's silly, or that's cruel, or you look in the mirror and you say, you know, the choices I've been making in my life are not good. They're not good for me. They're not good for my children. They're not good for the environment I live in. I don't feel good about myself. I'm not thriving. I can't handle stress well. You know, shame helps you address these things in your life that we all have that we need to work on. My issues are going to be different from your issues, and your issues are going to be different from my issues, but we all have them, okay? We all have dealt with shame. Every single one of us, whether people want to admit it or not. I don't care if you're a sex worker. I don't care if you've had 5 children out of wedlock. I don't care if you lie every day of your life. I don't care if you steal. I don't care if you're a murderer. I don't care what kind of person you encounter that tells you they don't care what they do. At some point in time, that person felt shame. Now, they may have blocked out that shame and said, I'm not going to feel it. But please believe we will put ourselves in our own prison. Other people may not know how you really feel because you could fake it online, right? You could act like, oh, my life's so great. Oh, I love doing this. I love twerking online and wearing lingerie and trying to get attention because I'm empty inside. Like, you could fool people online who are unenlightened. You know, you could fool some people online, but baby, when you turn the camera off, when you get off Instagram, when you get off YouTube, when you get off, TikTok. I love TikTok. Who's loving TikTok? Follow me on TikTok. I'm having a blast on TikTok. When you get off, then you have to deal with your real life. And if your real life is not happy, that's a sad place. It's a sad place if your real life is not happy. And so that's all I really wanted to say. I wanted to tell you, don't believe people when they try to tell you, you're shaming me, you're judging me. No, I'm not. I am trying to help you because we all have a right to be free from the bondage of shame. And how we free ourselves from the bondage of shame, if you're religious, is confessing our sins to God and changing, and God will direct our steps. If you're not a Christian, it may just be addressing your issues, addressing the things that you know are bothering you. That is how you overcome shame. You don't overcome shame by stuffing it down, acting like it doesn't exist, acting like you fine, by continuing to do things that you know are not making you feel good. You're not feeling motivated. You're not feeling in tune with God. You're not feeling in tune with yourself. And I've been there. I have been there. There were times in my life where I was just kind of lost, like, God, what's going on? I'm just not happy. I'm just not happy, God. I'm just not happy. And then I realized that also life is not just about happiness. Life is about purpose. Life is about direction. But mostly I can say we all want to be happy. And I'm just happy to be happy. Okay. I'm happy to be doing the things that I need to do for myself, despite what anyone else says, what anyone else thinks. To live a life where you don't live in abundant shame feels light. You just feel light. And so I wanted to pass this on to you because I know some of you may be dealing with shame, past mistakes, things you want to change in your life. We've all been there. We've all experienced it. And I want you to know that shame is not always bad, okay? It's not always bad. You can use it as a way to motivate yourself to get in tune with your spirituality, to get in tune with your morals, to get in tune with your values, and to change your life around so that you can have the things that you always wanted to have, that you don't have, that you're pretending that you have. Because the world is full of pretenders because of our ego. Because of our ego, the world is full of pretenders. But sometimes we have to put our ego down and we have to address our flaws. So, Patreon members, the next video up in our community tomorrow will be overeating, the dangers of overeating, and the shame that I have experienced with overeating. I was telling my husband this the other day, and I was saying, oh my gosh, I have so much shame for all the overeating I've done in my life, and, the lack of discipline that I had in that area and that I still have in that area. If I don't watch myself, I overeat. If I don't watch it very, very closely, I will overeat. And so I'm going to talk about that privately in the community on Patreon, shame with overeating. But this applies to shame in every area of our life. If you were abused at some point in your life, please go get counseling. Get counseling so you don't have to, listen, you may always deal with that, but get counseling so that you can manage that shame that you feel for someone violating you. If you know you've had a sketchy sexual history, get that in order so you don't have to feel the shame. If you always wanted to go to school or learn a new trade or new skill, work on that. Work on your career so you don't have to feel inadequate and shame when people are having conversations. If you know your look is not right, work on your look. Get that style together. If you know your doctor told you something that you need to work on health-wise, start working on it. Take baby steps. That's what we're all doing. We're all taking baby steps to change our lives. That's all I have to say, ladies, tonight. I hope that you will reflect on this topic of shame, because it's something that I've been reflecting on in relation to my overeating that I've done over the last couple of years. And it's life-changing. And I feel very free. I feel free now because I don't feel shame in that area because I'm addressing it. All right. I will see you next time. Join Patreon if you're looking for a private space. Support this community. This community is not just about fashion and looking good, although we want to do that and we will look good. But this community is really about becoming a complete woman, emotionally, spiritually, style, in our personal life. With our character, with our values, with our morals. This is a lifestyle community, and you can't be a phenomenal woman just by plopping your wig on. Okay, you're gonna need to do something else besides your makeup and wear a weave. You're gonna actually need to look at your character. It's not just about our hair and about our bodies and about all those things that we really do care about. It's about your character. Like, what kind of woman are you? You will be known by your fruits. What fruit have you blossomed with? And I'm not talking about like a Chanel bag or a Gucci bag. Like, those are superficial things. Like, where is the fruit? Where is your good relationships? Where are your, your accolades that you're working in your community and you're giving back? What is your lifestyle showing us? What fruits are you producing? I will see you in the next video, ladies. Have a great evening. Bye.